The air was thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, the kind that clings to your skin after a long walk in the woods. I stood at the edge of my property, a 20-acre slice of wilderness I'd bought to escape the world, my boots sinking into the soft mud. The forest was my sanctuary, my rebellion against the manicured lawns and nosy neighbors of the nearby homeowners association community. But Karen? Oh, Karen thought my land was her personal playground. For months, she'd been tromping through my trails, her neon running shoes leaving gouges in the moss, her voice cutting through the quiet like a chainsaw. She'd wave her manicured hand, claiming community access rights, as if my deed was just a suggestion. Today, though, I'd had enough. The war was on. It started small, her intrusions. I'd find candy wrappers littered along my creek, hear her yapping on her phone about property values while she trampled my wildflowers. I'd built this place to heal, after the divorce, after the city chewed me up and spat me out. Every tree I planted, every path I carved, was a stitch in a wound nobody else could see. But Karen didn't care. She'd march through with her Pilates crew, treating my forest like their private yoga retreat. I tried talking to her once, my voice steady but tight, the kind you use when you're holding back a scream. "This is private property, Karen," I said, pointing to the faded "No trespassing" sign. She laughed, her eyes glinting like polished knives. "Oh, honey, relax. We're just enjoying nature. You don't own the vibe." The vibe. I wanted to choke on the word. I let it slide too long, I'll admit. My therapist said I avoid conflict, and maybe she's right. But every snapped branch, every footprint in my sanctuary, felt like a violation. I'd lie awake at night, the hum of crickets outside my cabin drowned out by the memory of Karen's smug grin. Then came the day I found her dog's mess on my favorite trail, the one I'd walk with my daughter, Lily, when she visited. That was the line. I wasn't just fighting for my land anymore, I was fighting for the one place where I could still feel like a father, not a failure. I started with signs. Big ones, red letters screaming private property and trespassers will be prosecuted. I hammered them into the ground, the thud of the mallet echoing like a heartbeat. Karen didn't care. She'd jog right past, her ponytail swinging like a taunt. So I upped the game. I ordered rolls of barbed wire and wooden posts, spending late nights sketching fence lines under the flicker of a kerosene lamp. My hands blistered from digging post holes, the dirt caking under my nails, but every ache felt like defiance. I wasn't just building a fence, I was drawing a line in the sand. That's when I met Old Man Tucker. He showed up one evening, his pickup rattling down my dirt road, a cloud of dust trailing like a ghost. He was 70 if he was a day, his face weathered like the bark of an oak, eyes sharp despite the years. "Heard you're feudin' with that homeowners association witch," he said, spitting tobacco into the grass. I didn't know how he knew, but gossip travels fast in these parts. Tucker owned the adjacent plot, a scrappy patch of land he'd guarded like a hawk since the 80s. "She tried her nonsense with me once," he said, his voice low, gravelly. "Told her I'd shoot her dog if it crapped on my land again." He grinned, and I wasn't sure if he was joking. Tucker offered me a deal, his old trail cameras, motion activated, in exchange for a bottle of my homemade blackberry wine. I didn't hesitate. The cameras caught everything. Karen and her crew, laughing as they ducked under my signs, snapping selfies by my creek like it was a public park. One clip showed her kicking over a sapling I'd planted for Lily's 10th birthday, her voice dripping with disdain. "Who plants trees in the middle of a trail?" My blood boiled, my fists clenching so hard my knuckles popped. But Tucker's cameras gave me something better than anger, they gave me proof. I didn't confront her right away. I waited, planned, let the rage simmer like a storm brewing on the horizon. I spent days hauling posts, stringing wire, the metallic clank of the fence echoing through the trees. The forest seemed to hum with approval, the wind whispering through the pines like a conspirator. By the time I was done, every trail Karen used was cut off, a maze of barbed wire glinting in the sun. I posted the final touch, a sign, hand-painted, bold black letters on white wood, "Karen, your playground is closed." She showed up the next morning, her SUV screeching to a stop at the edge of my property. I watched from my porch, coffee mug warm in my hands, the steam curling like a ghost. Karen's face was a storm cloud, her lips pursed so tight they vanished. "What the hell is this?" she shrieked, gesturing at the fence. Her voice cracked, high and brittle, like glass about to shatter. "You can't block community trails." I leaned back in my rocking chair, the wood creaking under my weight, and took a slow sip. "My land, my rules," I said, my voice calm but sharp, like a blade hidden in velvet. She sputtered, her cheeks flushing red, and for a moment, I thought she'd charged the fence like a bull. That's when I played my ace. I held up my phone, the trail camera footage queued up, and hit play. Her face froze as she saw herself, clear as day, trespassing, vandalizing, mocking my signs. "This," I said, "is going to the sheriff. And the homeowners association board. And maybe the local news, if I'm feeling spicy." Her eyes widened, her breath hitching, a small, desperate sound escaping her throat. For the first time, Karen looked small, her confidence crumbling like dry leaves underfoot. She tried to rally, of course. "You'll regret this," she hissed, her voice low, venomous. "I'll sue you. I'll have this fence torn down." But her words lacked weight, like a storm that's already passed. I just smiled, the kind of smile you give when you know you've won. "Try it," I said. "I've got more footage than Netflix." The fallout was glorious. The Homeowners Association Board, desperate to avoid a scandal, slapped Karen with a fine for violating their own bylaws. Turns out, community access doesn't trump private property. The sheriff issued a formal warning, and the local paper ran a story about HOA overreach that had Karen's name trending on X for all the wrong reasons. She stopped coming to my land. The trails grew quiet again, the moss creeping back over her footprints, the forest healing itself. But the real victory came weeks later, when Lily visited. We walked the trails together, her small hand in mine, the air alive with the chirp of birds and the rustle of leaves. She pointed to the sapling Karen had kicked over, now propped up with a stake, its leaves still green, still fighting. "It's gonna make it, Dad," she said, her voice bright, hopeful. I knelt beside her, the earth cool against my knees, and felt something loosen in my chest, like a knot finally untying. This wasn't just about beating Karen. It was about protecting something bigger, my daughter's faith in me, my right to a piece of the world that was mine. As we sat by the creek, the water gurgling over smooth stones, I thought about Tucker, about the cameras, about the fence that said, "Enough." The forest wasn't just my sanctuary anymore, it was a testament to standing your ground, to fighting for what's yours when the world tries to take it. Karen thought she could bully her way through my life, but she choked on her own arrogance. And me? I learned that sometimes, the best revenge is a fence, a camera, and the courage to say, "Not today."